So, being asked to be somebody's best man is a bit like being called up for jury duty. You have mixed emotions, you have to wear a suit and look smart on the day. You also need to lay off the booze, at least for a bit. In fact, the only difference is I didn't have a say in the life sentence passed down earlier today. But Stacey, you do look amazing. Phil is an extremely lucky guy, and I know how much planning has gone in today because of the amount of questions that Phil's been asking me over the last year. And can I also say how beautiful bridesmaids are today? And I'd like to thank you for getting Stacey here on time. I mean, I kind of meant to say that, but I kind of can't help but think it was a lot of your planning. You were keeping them in check? And to the rest of the wedding party, to mums, dads, ushers, and everyone that's helped make today what it is, thank you. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Alex, the best man, and for those of you who do know me, I expect the laughs to be loud, but don't overdo them. And Phil and I met at work, so it does mean that I'm not the best source for embarrassing childhood stories, or awkward university tales of too much drink and attempts at running up the down escalator on the underground whilst in the park. However, I do have certain contacts. When Phil was younger, he thought he'd spotted a gap in the lace and buzzard market. A lack of eggs. The solution was, of course, chickens. However, after selling a dozen or so of these eggs, Phil showed his commercial side, pocketed the money and legged it, leaving his parents with the cost of the chickens, the coop, the feed, and a surplus of eggs. And Phil and I have got something in common. We were both born prematurely. I was born 2 weeks early, but not wanting to be outdone, Phil was born a full month early. And he's taken a laid-back look on life ever since. Now, whilst Phil is laid back, it's not at all to say he's lazy, unthoughtful, or blasé about life. In fact, he's always asking life's big questions. I've got a few of them here that I'd like to share with you. In fact, I'd like you to read them. And someone's hidden them. So if you catch one, and you read it out, this is also a bit of fun actually.
How do you make a salad?
How do hotels work?
Overstalled.
Give it to Anne. Give it to Anne.
Oh gosh. Oh sorry Dad, this is for you. It's 2 chips, burger, Big Mac. Did you know orange juice is only made from oranges? So genius. That was genius.
Will you marry me?
Don't think it's the time or the place. No, that is one of life's big questions, and I'm really pleased that Phil asked it, and I'm even happier that you said yes. Sandwich.
Why do they remove stones from olives for you, but not from cherries?
That's the recent one.
That's not a bad question, Phil.
Oh. quite a fascinating fact about Phil, that he can't burp. And it certainly makes for an interesting night on the town. In fact, has anyone been for a drink with Phil? You can certainly see them away. I think I pinpointed the moment in Phil's life where this all started. And at the age of 13 or 14 at scout camp, after a long day of camping, rock climbing, air rifle shooting, the boys were around a campfire, having a well-earned drink of Foster's. But suddenly the district commissioner appeared, and these cans magically disappeared, while simultaneously a look of fear appeared on the boys' faces. The fear vanished fairly quickly as the commissioner pulled out a bottle of whiskey and started passing it around. And the cans reappeared. I think that might also explain why Phil drinks Foster's. I've always wondered that. And for all my jokes and jibes, I think Phil is one of the nicest guys in the world. He's incredibly selfless. He's always willing to lend a hand to somebody or give them his time. He rarely has a bad word to say about anybody, and his friends all know to turn to Phil if we need a strong moral viewpoint on any issue. And truthfully, you're both lucky to have each other. Part of the best man speech typically involves giving advice on how to have a happy marriage. And Phil, there are people in this room that are probably much better placed to do this than me. For one, your parents who have been married for 37 years. And but in my first year of marriage myself, I do still have some advice for you both. Keep doing what you're doing. It's clearly working. Try to see things from each other's point of view. Support each other in your goals. Do fun things together often. And encourage each other's individual interests. And I'll end with a quote. The 36th President of the United States, Lyndon B. Johnson, once said, "I have learned that only two things are necessary to keep one's wife happy. First, let her think she's having her own way. And second, let her have it." And I'm very conscious that the longer I talk, the longer I delay getting a pint in my hand. So please join me in a toast to the bride and groom, Mr. and Mrs. Hunt.